it.
That's remarkable.
He didn't participate actually in it, but he made it known that anybody that interfered with the equipment would have to answer to him.
Or be sent off the
That's
ship.
right. They pack their stuff.
Jump ship.
That's right. Because there were people who were upset by the existence of this equipment on board who would have thrown it overboard if they had had the chance. That's part of the public attitude towards it, is that the individuals who are not able to tolerate it want to destroy it. And that's one thing you have to be careful of.
It seems like when you say fog will not form if the ether is expanding.
That's right.
That means that you know how to diagnose the ether, not only to recognize it and to interact with it, but to diagnose it.
Well, to some degree. Let me put it that way. In other words, I can tell when it's expanded.
Could this be taught?
I'm sure it could. But you'd need to have a background in Reichswork, for example, to really understand what you were doing. Otherwise, it would just be a question of how much humidity there was and the standard parameters of atmosphere that are used, and they really don't have anything to do, nothing very greatly to do with the etheric stasis of the atmosphere.
Is it something you think you're born with as well?
No, I think
like a sensitive instrument that maybe you're more receptive to this?
No, I don't think so. I think anybody can be taught these things. Most of the time they are aware of these things, but it's not connecting to the conscious mind. Let me put it that way. There are individuals that we had on the ship at different times. I mean, you've got to remember I was on that ship for 14 years. That we had individuals who came aboard the ship who were endowed with a natural ability to use this equipment. You didn't have to train them at all, hardly, and they would be able to do it. Once they got the general idea of how it all worked, then they could do it, and they used to do it when I wasn't on the ship, when I was on vacation.
Watch out for your apprentices,
right? That's right.
You spoke a lot about something, there was a sentence in your book that says, free primary power via the ether.
Yeah.
What is free primary power via the ether?
Well, power without having to burn anything. That's basically it. I mean, we can't get anywhere in this civilization unless we burn something. It all goes back to burning. And what allows us to propel ourselves around without burning anything?
That's a great question.
See? And they don't look at this. It's not looked at, not studied.
Well, there's got to be some people who are asking these questions, probably behind the scenes asking questions, having discussions about it. You're talking about financed work in it.
Mm-hmm. Right.
When you say that's not being done, you mean financed work in it.
Right. And nobody's looking to see if they can get into this continuum and pull out power from it. And it has, it has been done. Tesla did it. That's why nobody has been able to replicate Tesla's work, because they don't understand that he got into the ether, that he wrote about it. He called it the luminiferous ether.
It's been said and documented that Tesla had many, many, many patents.
Yeah.
And that some of his patents were so formidable that they are in possession of our government, and only our government has them under lock and seal. They were so formidable.
It's right there in that book of Colonel Corso's dealing with the UFOs that, they went to his lab and stole it all when he died. That's known that a lot of his stuff is missing. But they're not really up to doing what he did. They're not up to it yet. It's a little bit beyond them.
Some say that the weather engineering, that he actually has patents or had patents for the capability to initiate and sustain weather engineering practices, but that most of the public is not aware of that.
That's right. The public wouldn't be able to understand it at all. They wouldn't be able to understand any of Tesla's work. It's not for the public at all to understand. It's for technical people, and technical people are strapped down in the world that has no vital force. The world doesn't have any vitality.
Let's suppose that you were given the green light by sufficient powers that be, let's say in the United States, to proceed in full gear with the smog elimination setup, the fog diagnosis at airports, that was put into motion, so that planes could take off and land uninterrupted, at least by fog.
Mm-hmm.
And you were given the green light to go ahead and to initiate rainfall in areas where people are suffering tremendously from drought.
Mm-hmm.
What would be, where would you go? What would you do? What would you put into motion? Let's go there right now. Let's fly into that articulate vision.
Well, the first thing I would do would be get out of the United States.
Okay.
That's what I would do, because you just can't function here.
Well, let's just say you were just given you were given the green light now.
But I'd go down to Mexico, to La Paz, down in Baja California Sur, and I'd set up a 1-year program to change their climate down there, because no orthodox system or approach can deal with that, and I can.
Well, talk about you. What would you change? What are they suffering
Well,
with?
they don't have any water there. This is the problem. Bill Cox will tell you that they have plenty of water underneath. You know,
Yes.
primary adequate
water.
like that. The primary water, they're loaded with it, but they don't have any. And the
Rainwater.
The rainwater that they have is being polluted by the ocean getting in there, and so they have to go very deeply if they're going to use the primary water. What I would do is simply produce rain in Baja California Sur, and do it on a steady basis, so that they had year-round rain. And I would have the government plant trees all over Baja California, so that they would have antennas to keep the rain coming.
What do you mean by that?
Well, every tree is an antenna for rain. You must know that, surely.
I didn't know that.
Well,
here I am. I have a company, the Rainmaking Company, and a show. It's rainmaking time, and I'm a treeless wonder. And my last name is Greenhouse. How could I be so devoid of this primary knowledge?
Yeah, right. Well, there you are.
N capital N, capital K.
Yeah.
Trees are antennas for rain.
Right. So
Because of oxygen?
Well, because
Carbon
of the total metabolism of the tree contributes to rain coming in. And one of the problems you have all over the world is that they're smashing down trees and putting asphalt down, and the next thing you know, they have a drought. That happened in Malaysia.
Okay, so Baja California, you would go in,
Yeah.
you would plant trees like crazy,
Right.
and you would set up sustainable rainfall.
Right. See,
Ongoing, consistent rainfall.
they have a situation there that's quite unique, inasmuch as they have vessels, ships, that run across to Mazatlan from La Paz. And those ships could be equipped with devices of mine, so that every trip they made every day, they would be engineering rain automatically. They wouldn't have to do anything, just mount this tube on there. They could do that. That would be easy to do. So this would alter the rainfall totals of Sur Baja completely. And next thing you know, you'd have all kinds of foliage growing up there, because it's in the same latitude as Oahu in Hawaii. And it could be, completely revolutionized. The entire state of Sur Baja could be put on a new basis this way. And that would be within my capabilities to do that.
How long would that take in terms of
Well, you'd need
project commitment?
You need a contract for at least a year to
Okay.
do that.
1 year.
See,
Would you
we-
need to
we-
be there? You need to
Oh
physically
yeah,
be there.
I would be there, but I could leave associates down there to handle it when I wasn't there.
Where would you go next?
Well,
We're in the visioning part right now.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're tuning into It's Rainmaking Time. This is Kim Greenhouse. I'm honored to be in the cockpit of some type of a imaginary opportunity here with Trevor James Constable, who is a weather engineer who has proven that he has not only the ability to make rain, to engineer rain, but that this knowledge is accessible and real, and the tools that are used to deliver the rain are accessible and inexpensive. He also is involved in smog elimination, in fog eradication. This could be utilized at airports throughout the world who have difficulties taking off and landing. And I'm just delighted to be here with you today.
Mm-hmm.
I had heard about you 8 years ago when I represented a scientist in my company that was bringing a solution to kidney dialysis patients,
Mm-hmm.
who introduced me to the Singapore gentleman who's been
George Wu.
your
there
backer
he is, yeah.
for many
On the
years.
war.
And that's how I had heard about you. So what would be the next place
Well,
that you would go
I think
to?
you should just take one thing at a time. even in terms of just